You ever get that feeling that your sales and marketing teams are, I don't know, playing for two completely different teams? Yeah? Marketing's over here making all this beautiful content, and sales is just grinding away to hit their quotas. And somewhere in the middle, growth just stalls out. Well, we're going to lay out a playbook that turns all that friction into a seriously high-performance engine. So let's just dive right in.
And look, the scale of this problem, it's absolutely staggering. Just get this. A mind-blowing 65% of all the content that marketing works so hard to create, it's never even used by the sales team. Just think about that. That's not a small leak, right? That is a massive hole in the side of the ship. We're talking wasted time, wasted budget, and just so much missed opportunity.
So you gotta ask, right? Why is this happening? I mean, if everyone's supposed to be working toward the same company goals, where on earth does this huge disconnect come from? Let's dig in and find out what's really going on.
Okay, so first up, we're going to diagnose the core problem here. I like to call it the Great Sales Divide. And believe me, it's the real reason why it so often feels like your sales and marketing departments are operating on completely different planets.
And what's so wild about this is that from their own point of view, both sides are right. You've got marketing over here, playing the long game, planting seeds, building brand awareness, thinking about next year. But then you have sales, and they've got to harvest the crops right now to hit this month's quota. See the problem? Both are absolutely essential, but their timelines are just on a collision course. And that creates this constant underlying tension.
And you know who ends up paying the price for all this internal friction? The customer, of course. Their data gets siloed, your growth stalls out, and they're left with this super confusing, really aggravating experience. It feels like they're dealing with two totally different companies, and that, my friends, is a perfect recipe for them to just leave.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The proof is right there in the numbers. The data is absolutely undeniable. When teams are aligned, they don't just get along better, they flat out win. This isn't some fluffy, nice-to-have cultural thing. We're talking about a core driver of profitability and, frankly, market dominance.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? How do we bridge this huge divide? Well, I'll tell you what the solution isn't. It's not another fancy piece of software or booking even more meetings. No, it's a fundamental shift in how you think. It's what we call the customer-first mandate.
This right here, this is your North Star. Forget about chasing separate metrics like leads for marketing or quotas for sales. Instead, both teams have to rally around one single shared objective, driving revenue and growing the business. It's that simple. When everyone is rowing in the exact same direction, all that friction just melts away.
So, what does a customer-first approach actually look like day to day? It's a really simple but honestly profound shift. It means every single decision, every marketing campaign, every single sales call gets filtered through one simple lens, the customer. The guiding question for the whole company becomes, how does this help them?
And let's be clear, this is not just some feel-good, fluffy strategy. The business benefits are real, they're tangible, and they are powerful. What happens? You create fiercely loyal customers who turn into your best marketers. Powerful word-of-mouth referrals. You build an incredible brand reputation, and the big one, you get sustainable, long-term profitability.
All right, so we've covered the why. We get it. Now let's get into the how. So pillar number one of a customer-first strategy is all about building your engine. This is the foundation, the internal systems and processes that make your success repeatable and, just as importantly, scalable.
And right at the heart of this engine is a really well-defined sales workflow. This is so important. This is not about winging it or relying on a few star players. It's about creating a predictable, repeatable process that guides a customer smoothly from just curious all the way to fully committed.
So here's a look at what a really solid workflow actually looks like. Think of it as a 7-stage journey. It takes someone from being a potential customer you just found all the way through to becoming a loyal advocate for your brand. And each of these steps is a deliberate building block. You're creating this solid foundation for a real long-term relationship. So you might be wondering, who actually keeps this whole engine running smoothly? Well, that is the critical job of the sales operations team. Think of them as the architects and the mechanics of your sales machine. They're constantly fine-tuning the process, making sure it's operating at peak efficiency. Honestly, they are the unsung heroes of any high-performing sales organization. But look, a powerful engine is totally useless without a skilled driver behind the wheel, right? So that brings us to our second pillar, mastering engagement. This is where we shift from the process to the people.
It's all about turning that structured workflow into a genuine human connection.
And this is where even the best laid plans can fall apart. We're talking about really common mistakes, like skipping your research, totally ignoring the follow-up, or just blasting out a generic one-size-fits-all sales pitch. Any one of these can completely sabotage the relationship you're trying to build. These are the landmines you have got to avoid.
So, what's the antidote to that awful generic pitch? It's all about personalized sales. This means using the customer data you have to tailor every single interaction. It's a huge shift from saying, hey, here's what we sell, to saying, look, here's how we solve your specific problem.
And what's maybe the most powerful personalization tool in your entire toolkit, it's storytelling. Look, facts and figures are easy to forget, but stories create a real emotional connection. They're what transform your product from just a list of features into a compelling narrative that actually resonates with your customer's own journey.
Okay, so let's get to the good part. What's the bottom line? What actually happens when you combine this powerful, well-built engine with masterful human engagement? Well, the results they're pretty staggering. And honestly, they speak for themselves.
First up, get ready for this number. Highly aligned sales and marketing teams drive a jaw-dropping 208% more revenue growth from their marketing efforts. Let me say that again, 208%. That's more than tripling the impact just by getting everyone to work together.
And it's not just about getting new customers in the door. No way. These same aligned organizations see a 36% higher customer retention rate. And that is the proof that a customer-first approach doesn't just close deals, it builds real, lasting loyalty.
But what about the size of the deals themselves? Well, those leads that are properly nurtured, the ones who've experienced that true personal engagement, they end up making purchases that are 47% larger. That shows you a direct, straight line between making a personal connection and boosting your profitability.
So, what is the big takeaway from all of this? It's that a unified, customer-first approach isn't just about improving morale or making people feel good. It is a fundamental financial strategy that will absolutely transform your bottom line. It's the key that unlocks sustainable long-term growth. So I'll leave you with this one simple, but I think really powerful question to take back to your team. Be honest with yourself. Is your sales process designed for your company, or is it designed for your customer? Because the answer to that question, well, that's what's going to determine your future.